Right, maths is not my strong point, Tony, but I'm going to say we're right now 26 and a half hours away from kickoff. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, 26 hours. Yeah, is it? All right. Yeah, it's 12:30, isn't it? Half
Come
12.
on, half
Yeah, yeah,
past.
yeah. Sorry.
Do you not know the kickoff time?
That's just memory blank there. Yeah, 26 and a half hours. Yep. Okay with that.
Yes. How you feeling? How's the nerves going? I must say, like preparing for this video, doing a bit of thinking earlier. If for the first time, like I kind of feel as if the game has crept up on me a little bit. I had that first moment of going, "Wow, this is a pretty big game."
I embrace it. I love it. Even even if I'm nervous, I'm still always a glass half full kind of guy. The eternal optimist, dreamer, romanticist, call it what you like. But yeah, I love them. You love and you hate them, don't you? But I
Yeah,
can't wait. I really can't wait. And as I say, I'm still pretty optimistic about Celtic's chances of success.
yeah. You want the game to start for days and days and weeks,
Yeah,
and then the minute it starts, you're kind of like, "I'll take half time right now and a bit of
yeah,
respite." So I'm sure tomorrow will be just like it always is, dramatic and exciting and nervy and all of the good and bad things. Hi everyone, it is Friday. As I say, we're just over a day away from kickoff at Celtic Park tomorrow. Celtic versus Rangers, and a real opportunity for Brendan Rodgers and the team to make a massive title statement. It would be a massive title statement if we could find a way to win the game tomorrow. Before that, we're obviously going to chat about the game tomorrow quite a lot, I would guess. But we also have a game coming up in the Scottish Cup early next year. Bucky Thistle and the Celtic Way have 2 tickets to give away on the show ahead of that match. Now, to do this and to be in with a chance of getting these 2 tickets, you have to follow us on Twitter. That's at Celtic Way 1888. If you already follow us, no worries at all. But you also, on top of that, we're asking a lot here, Tony. You have to direct message us saying, "I want the tickets." Very simple there. So follow us and direct messages. "I want the tickets," and the winner will be selected at random. So that's a game that I was saying, a wee bit tongue in cheek. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but it could be the greatest shock in the history of Scottish football. You never know.
the romance of the cup and all that. Hamish, the way Celtic were playing prior to the Livingston and Dundee game, you would have been thinking that, wouldn't you? So they've screwed the nut a wee bit, as they say. So
Yeah.
here's hoping that Bucky Thistle come down, enjoy their day, and Celtic see them off comfortably. Let's put it that way.
I saw someone saying online we should maybe allow them to wear the hoops for the match as a one-off, and we could wear our away kit. I don't think that'll happen, but a novel idea. Right, we're not going to spend the whole show chatting about Bucky Thistle though, because it is the derby tomorrow. I'm already getting comments in. Christopher, hi guys, I'm dreading tomorrow's game mainly because of Celtic's form recently than the matter of the officials and of course VAR. I'm not looking forward to it. Mikey saying the game tomorrow is absolutely massive. If we win, I believe we can go on to win the league. If we lose, we hand them the title and 60 million in Champions League money. It's a must win for me. Maestro saying I'm looking forward to the game in Celtic exposing the space, which I really like, and the fans getting right behind the team. I'm feeling generally, I don't know how I would describe myself, maybe quietly optimistic about the game tomorrow. I think it's a relatively even game. To be honest, no outcome would massively surprise me, but I do back this Celtic team to really rise to the occasion, just like they did at Ibrox. Did you see Brendan Rodgers' kind of Celtic TV stuff yesterday, Tony?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
quite impressed with that. I always think he's quite bullish when it comes to these big
yeah, he
games.
lives for it.
He's a big game manager. I said it the last time, and everybody was predicting doom and gloom when they went to Ibrox. And all week I said, this is what the manager lives for. Look at his record against Rangers. He always comes up with a game plan to stop them. And then everyone's saying now he's not doing it against Warburton or Murty anymore. He's up against a bona fide manager in Philippe Clement. Well, we'll see. Let's see, shall we? He's got a tremendous record in Celtic and Rangers matches, has Brendan Rodgers. So I always back him because he exudes calmness for one, and I think that transmits to the players. And Ibrox was a wonderful day of game management with the players, and also with the squad that he had, and with a depleted defence and all that stuff. And Celtic dominated that match, and and could have won by more actually in the end up. So I've got no fear about this team being able to perform, Hamish. I've no fear about the manager stepping up to the plate either, and we'll see where the chips may fall. I agree with Ryan to a certain extent when he said just that the pressure's all on Rangers to come to Celtic Park with no supporters and see if they can win.
Because they're the kind of hyped team, the darlings of the Scottish media at the moment.
Yeah, they're the hyped team. They're the informed team, aren't they? So we're told. But I keep telling people, watch Rangers. They're not brilliant. They're getting results, and the manager's getting a tune out of those players. But they're not unbeatable. And if there's a team that's going to beat them at Celtic with a full house crowd, everybody getting behind them, all that unity, all that passion, So I'm more than quietly optimistic than yourself. I might be singing a different tune come 2:15 tomorrow, 2:30 tomorrow. But listen, I embrace it. Bring it on. I just have every faith in the manager and the players. Granted, they've had a wee stutter, but I think they've got that out of the system.
So do you think that what you touched on there, excuse me, what you touched on there with, Rangers and kind of being talked up, and Celtic kind of been written off a bit recently, and some of it has been fair. The criticism has certainly been fair. It's been warranted. But do you think that will factor in the kind of build-up this week? And even if it's not directly being said by Brendan Rodgers at, 11 o'clock, 11:30 tomorrow, it must be on the players' minds, the likes of Callum McGregor. These guys are the ones getting all the billing. We're still the champions. We're still at the top of the perch, and they're going to have to knock us off to get to where they want to be. And you really it's not, I don't get the impression this is a Celtic team that's about to be knocked off the perch. I think we still have a real desire there, and the best players in the country and the best manager in the country to answer what they throw at us tomorrow, and actually to throw more at them than they throw at us.
I also think that whenever there's gum bumping being done, it's not by Celtic, is it? Really? Yeah, it's never. It's not their style, and I get the impression that the Celtic players relish this. Is that old cliche? Fine, do the talking on the park type stuff, and you've heard all week the mood music is about how good Rangers are, how good they're playing, how good Felix Clement is, how good even Lawrence Shankland's a better finisher than Kyogo, because Kyogo can't finish the way Lawrence Shankland did the other night, which is just utter nonsense, right? But these are
don't write Kyogo off.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So these are things that Brendan Rodgers will be saying. You don't even need to pin it up in the dressing room. Well, you heard it. Everybody can see it, and they can read. And I know players say, I don't pay attention to social media. I don't read newspapers. They're human, like everybody else. They can hardly avoid it. So I think, in terms of Kyogo tomorrow, no team talk required for him. He has an uncanny knack of sticking the ball in the net against Rangers. So be careful what you say about certain individuals. And if anything, I think he'll be determined, even if it's just to make up for the fact that he missed a 1-on-1 at Dens Park the other day and he was really annoyed at himself. Did almost everything right. It was inches away from being perfect. But these things prey on strikers' mind, don't they? And what they want to do is score the next game. So if you're telling Kyogo that he's not the best striker in the country, excellent. Keep talking.
Yeah, Pat saying a Kyogo hat-trick tomorrow wouldn't surprise you, would it, after those remarks? If Kyogo scores a hat-trick tomorrow, I do not even want to suggest what kind of state I'll be in. For a start, the kick-off here is a 11:30 p.m. kick-off, so obviously drink responsibly and all that stuff. But if Kyogo nets a hat-trick tomorrow, I'm sure the rest of the Celtic support and myself will be enjoying ourselves. We'll come on and kind of pick our team a little bit. I've certainly picked my team. We can chat about some of the dilemmas perhaps that Brendan Rodgers will have. Before that, big shout out to MPH Group and Navian. MPH Group, Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialist covering mainland Scotland. They have an enticing Navier boiler winter promotion just for you. If you choose them, you're getting top-tier efficiency, a free Navian internet controller. Navian are also pretty good. The big dogs, they're gunning for Product of the Year at the H&V News Awards. And on top of that, MPH offer flexible finance options so you can gear up for the chill and consider making a smart move with MPH and Navian. Are we expecting it chilly tomorrow at Celtic Park? I guess it's always chilly for these derby games in terms of the atmosphere.
Yeah, I just think the atmosphere will be, ratcheted up a notch because the Green Brigade are back, and you have to channel that energy of that famous February game under Ange, don't you? That's the kind of atmosphere we want. That's the kind of tempo. I think that's the template for a Celtic Rangers game with no away supporters in attendance. Not saying Celtic are going to play like that, but just that whole night was just, there was something magical and special in the air, and you have to make that home advantage count, Hamish, tomorrow, and make it that way. And I expect Celtic to actually do come kind of flying out the traps a wee bit at Rangers and see what they're made of, So and also you're going to get a team that fancies their chances against you, so they might go toe to toe you in terms of playing you football, which could suit Celtic. You saw the last few games. No team wants to play against Celtic. They know that if they can park the bus and frustrate them, that Celtic can get frustrated. But I think Rangers won't be doing that. I think they sense that they can come and win. Hence, they might try and take you on it and play an actual game of association football, which would be good.
Yeah, and I mean, our results in the Champions League weren't great, but it kind of suited us to an extent in those matches. Like, we were, apart from that game in Madrid, I quite enjoyed teams having a go at us, and certainly a few of the goals I think of from that campaign were kind of breakaway goals. So I think it'd be good to have that space. I've just got visions of Maida tomorrow down that left wing, but that's possibly a debate we can have.
That 45 minutes against Atletico Madrid was some of the best football I've seen Celtic play, both in Europe and just in general, in a long, long time. And that's what they're capable of. And,
a performance like that gets the job done, I would say.
Yeah, and so they can do it, but they have to sustain it over the course of the whole game. But it's in them, and it's in these players. So you're not asking them to do anything that's alien to their nature. And the manager knows that, and the supporters know that, and the players know that. So I think tomorrow, if you can bring that A-game to the stage, as you say, that wins the game, doesn't it?
We're probably more experienced than them as well. If you look at the starting lineups in terms of this fixture, I know they've got a few players who have been kind of here for a while. I think mainly Goldson and Tavernier would be the main two, but you look, throughout our squad, and McGregor's played in these matches, and Maida, Kyogo, O'Reilly, and Joe Hart, and Johnston, Taylor, Carter Vickers, if he plays. Like, there's a fair amount of experience in this fixture, and I get the impression the Celtic players really relish these matches. I think it's sometimes more last season than this season, but it's sometimes the Premiership, domestic matches can almost be a little bit too easy for us. It's obviously been less the case this year, but I feel like when you're talking about teams who defend against us, I sometimes get the impression that the players would much rather play against opposition that are really going to come out and have a go at us, like we see in Europe. And I think you're right. I think we will see that from Rangers tomorrow, and I think it could make for a really, really exciting game. I think you're going to see high lines from both teams. I think you're going to see a lot of running in behind. They've got real pace, Sima especially. And I think we've got real pace with, Kyogo and Maida, especially in behind. So it could almost be a match that comes down to who makes the most of those kind of in-behind opportunities. I think it's going to be interesting. My team quickly, and I'll just read it out very quickly if I can find it. Tell me if you agree or disagree with all of this. Hart, Johnston, assuming he's fit, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Scales, Taylor, McGregor, Bernardo, O'Reilly, Maida, Palma, Kyogo, and I'm going Maida on the left rather than the right, just for the whole Tavernier thing.
Yeah. Okay. Without any...
You disagree with all 11 players?
No. Without any plot spoilers for my own predicted 11,
right.
I don't think we're a million miles apart on that one, Hamish. In fact, I don't think we're any miles apart on that one, because that's exactly what I've gone with as well.
What about the wing thing? Like, would you have...
Oh, definitely the wing thing. Yeah.
Maida on the left?
Maida on the left, yeah. He has to negate Tavernier. That's his main, his primary function in a Celtic Rangers game.
It's a big function, isn't
But
it?
it's a big function there, because Tavernier is a danger. Both when he just marauds forward and, like at Olympia, he can score goals, not just from penalty kicks and free kicks. He can go stand there and score. So we have someone to, if you've got a player that can negate him and match his energy and his runs, then you have to do that. I just think it's, I love it when my Maida does that, and he does it so well, but you just negate him as well at times, don't you, in terms of an attacking sense, But I still feel that he's got enough in his locker. I mean, he scored a cracker at Ibrox in that 2-each game.
Yeah.
When he just picked up that loose ball, and he's got that in his locker, and that's what frustrates the life out of me about Maida. But I think tomorrow you have to stop the service coming into guys like Sima and Dessers if he plays. So Tavernier's a big part of that. So I think you have to deploy Maida on Tavernier. Yep. But yeah, your team spot on. And I thought Bernardo's performance against Dundee was kind of coming of age performance. But now I want the ultimate coming of age performance from Bernardo in the derby. Don't let it pass you by, and show exactly what the manager thinks of you, that you're a talent, and go and embrace it, and listen to the experienced heads in that midfield that are beside you. They will talk you through it, and you have to open your eyes and your ears in a game like that, and be aware, spatially aware, all the time about where you are on the pitch. But I'm like you. I think the Celtic players do relish this challenge. The gauntlet's been thrown down by Rangers, and I think Celtic are more than capable of picking it up, Hamish. Could be wrong in that, but I'm quite confident in that assessment.
Yeah. A couple of people just pointing out that, maybe Bernardo isn't totally convincing, and I would agree. I don't think anyone could say he has been totally convincing since coming to the club. I don't know. I just get a wee feeling that he could be, as you say, he could rise to it tomorrow, and he could be the kind of player we're talking about, because he's quite physical, Bernardo, but he can also offer things going forward. And I just get the feeling that his game might be quite well suited for that midfield. I know he's not got a massive engine, maybe. He reminds me a lot of Aaron Moy, if I'm honest. He really does, the way he plays the game, and he kind of got that dig. Maybe he's a bit more kind of agile than Moy, but I think he could be a big player. A few people saying about Palma on the right as well. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm thinking of that Atletico Madrid goal, but he did quite well on the right there, and that was, like, I feel like Maida and Taylor have got quite a good relationship, and I love that. Actually, for that Atletico Madrid goal, if you remember, it's a pass from Taylor inside the full-back. Maida's running, and I just think, for as decent as Tavernier is going forward defensively, he's still there to be got at. And I just think, see that wee, for all of the criticism that Taylor gets, that wee pass, he's got that clipped pass into the winger, and then across, a goal to either Kyogo or Palma at the back stick. I think that's the play tomorrow. I'm praying we get a goal from it now. I just think that's the play.
That's where Celtic can hurt them, because Tavernier isn't. He's defensively suspect. Same with Barisic as well. You can exploit space on both those flanks, because Barisic isn't the quickest either, and he switches off. Abada's had him on toast at times when he's played that fixture. I know Abada's not playing tomorrow, but if Barisic plays, you have to exploit them down that flank as well, and take advantage of the fact that both of these players are good going forward. They can whip in a good ball, but they can be defensively lacking and can switch off and can be lax at times. And I think when they switch off, then you have to switch on in those moments, big time. The way Matt O'Reilly switched on when he headed that ball forward for Kyogo at Ibrox, that kind of thing. Be spatially aware. You spoke about the kind of cutback ball, those threaded passes through. That has to be Celtic's game plan tomorrow. That intricacy and get it right in the areas where you can hurt Rangers most. And I think if you've got somebody like Maida, Kyogo and Palmer buzzing about, they've all got joy from that, Hamish. I'm convinced of that as well. And I think the manager knows that too. You have to play on that because that's where Rangers can be got at.
I've not watched a lot of them recently, but the games I have watched, Aberdeen away and the Cypriot team, I think both goals they conceded in those matches were in behind.
Yeah.
And they play quite a high line, and I don't think either Goldson or maybe Balogun's a little bit quicker, but I still think, their positioning can be off and you can get in behind. If Kyogo's having one of those days, that's the thing I'd say about the last couple of games. Yeah, his finishing maybe hasn't all been there, but his movement has been back. Maybe his movement never went away. Maybe it's more a case of us actually finding him, but I just think that ball's on tomorrow. Listen, just another wee mention in case you missed it at the start. Bucky Thistle, we're playing them in the Scottish Cup. I think it's next month. I think it's January. There's a couple of tickets going for that match. If you follow us on Twitter, at Celtic Way 1888, and DM us saying, I want the tickets, you'll be in with a chance of winning them. Someone had commented saying they thought they'd read that the competition had closed. I can confirm that it's still open, alive and kicking. So yes. We'll go for that. Fans. What role are the fans going to play tomorrow?
Vitally important. We're all cliche, fans don't score a goal, but I tell you what, they can lift those players. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There was no team that suffered most when fans weren't allowed in the stadium than Celtic. And we all know what happened. And we all know what can happen when everyone's in unison singing from the same page. That game in February, 3-0 game will live long in the memory. And I think that's what you want tomorrow. You just want Celtic Park to rock to its foundations. Because I think as well that'll be a new experience for a lot of those Rangers players. And it's hostile as it gets, and there's a pressure attached to that. And you can say, we'll be prepared for it. You're not prepared for it at all. You can't prepare yourself for anything like that. And, some players rise to it, some players sink with the weight and the demand placed upon their shoulders. And I think as well that Celtic just have to use that to their advantage, press home that home advantage. And as you say in the title, and make that massive title statement, because it would be a statement. And again, going back to what you said at the top of the programme, I don't think the players are ready to be knocked off their lofty perch either. They've read all the stuff about the 2 games in hand and stuff like that, and how Rangers could have come and gone top of the league and all that. That's not going to happen regardless of the result. But let's make sure that Celtic are top of the league by 8 points because they've won the game and nothing else. So, I think the crowd have got an important part to play. Just get right behind from the get-go. Just get right behind Brendan Rodgers and the players. And it's amazing what that does. It does lift the players. I don't care what MD says. It can be a massive factor in these games.
When you think back to that game we won in September at Ibrox, conversely, we had no fans that day, much like they'll have no fans tomorrow. And their fans did turn on the team, didn't they? When they started, quite quickly, but after that Kyogo goal, and certainly in the second half, I remember hearing, a lot of frustration from the home fans at Ibrox, and like that could be part of the game tomorrow as well. So again, another reason for us to really start the game well and not to let it kind of drift away from us. A good reason not to go behind is basically what I'm saying. Don't go behind, which would hopefully be in Rodgers' advice anyway.
Of course, because if you go behind, the mood music changes, doesn't it? And the crowd changes too, and then
turns against you.
It turns against you a wee bit, and it can work against you, that kind of thing. But you just have to hope that it goes to plan. And if they do go behind, that everybody still gets behind the team, because they are capable of coming back regardless of what people might think. The kind of doom and gloom merchants will say if they go behind they won't come back from it. I refuse to believe that. I think they can, but you don't need to be a genius to work out that first goal in these games can be either decisive or crucial or vital. So I just think it's imperative that Celtic don't concede the first goal. Hamish, let's put it that way. I agree with you on that, certainly.
Are we still waiting for the moment for this season and for Brendan Rodgers' return? You know what I mean? Have we had that major moment yet where, you know, the whole of Celtic Park is joyous and loving life and fully behind everything that's happening? Is tomorrow the moment when it comes together?
Well, I think people would say that maybe Ibrox was the false dawn, wasn't it?
Yeah. No fans there, I guess.
Yeah, so I think tomorrow is that moment. It's right to make the statement, isn't it? It's right to say, we're champions for a reason. We're a good team, and this is why. You know, I think a lot of people forget that Celtic are a good team, or have forgotten, in light of the Kilmarnock and Hearts results.
Yeah.
And I still think that Celtic are a good side, and on their game they can produce when it matters. And tomorrow's just one of those days when you have to produce when it matters. Nothing else. Don't concern yourself with nothing else. Don't concern yourself with your previous form or Rangers form going into it. It's all on the day, and I still think Celtic can raise their levels when push comes to shove.
Here's a wee cross section of the audience. Thomas saying, I've never been more confident going into tomorrow. Michael saying, I'm extremely nervous about it, so much at stake. Alistair pointing out, Calmac gave me the impression in his Tuesday post-match interview that the team will be right up for it. He always finds an extra gear against Rangers. He'd been really struggling at the start of the season, and then at Ibrox he was excellent. He controlled that game. He was our key player that day, maybe other than Kyogo for the obvious, but I don't expect him to get the same amount of space tomorrow. I know it's a new manager, but I still think, you know, the Rangers players and whatever the coaching staff who have stayed on will be aware of how much he ran that game at Ibrox in September, and I expect there to be far more attention paid to Callum McGregor, but we know that he's good enough to evade that as well. Matt O'Reilly's another massive one tomorrow. Like, he's been our outstanding player this season. He's been the outstanding player in Scottish football for me this season, and we really want to see it in the biggest fixture, don't we?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've waxed lyrical about Matt O'Reilly on this pod many times. He's just imperious as a footballer at times. I think he's excellent. Can't speak highly enough of him. And again, if Callum McGregor turns up, which he always seems to do, excuse me, and Matt O'Reilly performs, you know, you've got potential match winners or guys that can contribute in terms of assists and goals in your side. But Matt O'Reilly he's a player of the year at the minute for me, and it'll take somebody special to knock him off that lofty perch of a player of the year candidate, because I just can't see it. He is the best midfielder in the country by quite a considerable distance. Ryan would argue that Rio Hatate is, so that's fair enough. It depends how you see it, but I just think Matt O'Reilly's a wonderful player, and I'm just enjoying him while I can. And he gives you a lot to enjoy, doesn't he? And I just think he's tailor-made for games like this. He's another one who makes a solid and valid contribution in the big games, and that's what I like about him.
Yeah, we want to see that more tomorrow. In terms of worries about the game, I've already kind of touched on my worry, and it is the fact that everyone inside the stadium is a Celtic fan. And yeah, we can leave all of the reasons why that's the case and all that at the door. But in terms of the match tomorrow, that's good news in terms of us getting a result. I think, obviously, the fact that, you know, it's a hostile atmosphere. But as I say, like, if things aren't going well, and given, let's face it, the kind of frustrations that have been there all season so far, that would be my only concern for tomorrow. I think that if we did go behind, how would the team react to that? How would the support react to that? Have you got any other kind of concerns going through your mind about the match?
My only concerns would be Brendan Rodgers on likeness today, wouldn't he, about Cameron Carter-Vickers' state of play. I wouldn't be unduly concerned if Welsh was to come in, but you just feel that extra safety blanket with Cameron Carter-Vickers there, don't you?
Yeah.
And you would worry if Brendan Rodgers was to say he was ruled out. I would worry about that. We'll find that out later on today. But they went to Ibrox and coped without him. So, it's not something that they couldn't do again. But I just think that's my only concern going into this, Hamish. The fitness or not of Cameron Carter-Vickers. In my mind, he has to play. But if he doesn't,
even if he's not 100%, would you go for him?
Nah, I think I'm always, if he's not 100%, then obviously you can't, because you run the risk of doing real damage, especially with tightness and hamstrings and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't want him to miss any more. Sometimes you have to save players from themselves as well. They'll tell you they're fit and they're maybe not, but he's just a vital player at the heart of that defence, and I would worry if his name's not on the team sheet. That would be my only other concern, Hamish. The rest, I think they can go with. But Welsh came in against Feyenoord and he was excellent for the time that he played. So I've no real qualms, and he would have to play because he is the one that's been playing recently. I wouldn't even gamble on a Lagerbielke or a Navrowski coming in alongside Scales.
Yeah,
it would have to be Welsh for me. So, but yeah, a lot hinges on what Brendan Rodgers says today, and hopefully he says Cameron Carter-Vickers is fit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hatate Abada could be thrown into things as well at some stage. It's something to be considered. Again, we should get a bit of a feeling from Brendan Rodgers today.
Even if they're not going to play any part in it, Hamish, I'd still put them on the bench because it's a real boost.
A boost, yeah.
A real lift. I remember was Rangers signed Aaron Ramsey, didn't he, prior to the game that Celtic pummeled him in, and I don't think he featured on the bench, did he?
He was up in the main stand.
Yeah, and I thought I thought Rangers missed a trick there. They should have just put him on the bench, even if he wasn't going to play any part.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we had Maeda coming back for Japan, having played 18 hours earlier. I mean, that just summed up that night. We wanted it, they didn't.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. See, even tomorrow, I'd have the two of them on the bench. And even if they don't play, but I mean, the manager is hinting that they might play some part. So, but I still have the two of them on the bench because the lift that'll give everybody as well, just seeing those two back out, running about with the first team in the warm-up and stuff. I just think that's worth its weight in gold as well.
Who's the referee? I've missed this, and I hate to throw
Nick
you in
Walsh.
if you don't know.
Nick Walsh. And Willie Collum, I think, is operating the VAR or VAR, whatever way you want to look at that. Yeah,
my confidence has just gone for there. Down to there.
Read what you want into either of those two appointments. We shall see. Here's hoping we're talking about football matters, Hamish, and not anything to do with decisions made by officials after tomorrow. But you can't escape it, can you? You do. That's always a niggling doubt in the back of your head that something might happen in terms of those.
Yeah, a few comments come in over the last couple of minutes along the lines of if we're turn up and play our game, they won't be able to live with us, and I totally agree. And Curtis pointing out why focus on stopping Tavernier, let him worry about stopping our player. I think that will come into it as well. But yes, it's going to be very interesting. The nerves are going to go through the roof, I'm sure, for all of us over the next 24 hours or so. And then the talking will stop and we'll get into a pretty massive match in terms of this season. It is worth pointing out that nothing will be won or lost tomorrow, regardless of the result. We'll be back here talking about Celtic's prospects and being positive about things, although it'll be much easier if we get the result tomorrow against our rivals. Tony, thanks again.
Pleasure, Hamish. Enjoyed that.
Yes, it's always good. Final shout out before we go for the Bucky Thistle match that's coming up in the Scottish Cup. We've got a couple of tickets we're giving away for that one. Follow us on Twitter. That's at Celtic Way 1888. And if you direct message us as well saying, I want the tickets, then you could be in with a chance of winning those 2 tickets for the Buckie Thistle game. Winner will be selected at random, and we'll announce it on social media, Twitter or X, later in the day. Right, thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and here's hoping for a big, massive title statement from Celtic. Speak to you soon.